G'day everyone, Scott here from One Green Thumb Gardening in Toowoomba. This is a video on the Ego Powerhead. Now someone purchased the PH1620 and this video is to explain why I want them to take it back before they use it and get upgrade to the commercial Powerhead PHX1600. A bit of the background. Alright, so I've had the original Powerhead domestic range PH1600. My original one lasted me 6 years and I flogged the living hell out of it. I did replace a gearbox in it, but in hot temperatures it was just getting too hot and it just keeps cutting out. So, and then it finally died, and I did have a backup one of these in the shed, and I bought a cylinder mower, and part of the package was the 1420, which my staff member used and I was using it as well. And it is definitely better. It doesn't cut out in the heat, especially when you're doing hard tasks like whippersnipping and using the bristle brush or rotary tiller. And I'd had about 60 people who have told me that I will not be disappointed with the Ego commercial Powerhead, because in my opinion, everything in the Ego commercial range is rubbish. It's either too heavy, doesn't do the task right, just awkward. Anyway, we're not going down that range. So anything that I'd previously bought in the Ego commercial range, I'd literally given it away. But I went out and bought the PHX1600 and it has been absolutely amazing, and I've given it a pretty good flogging. One things I do love about the the commercial range Powerhead, is definitely the extra speed. Although I don't really find it could still be faster for hedge trimming. Definitely 100% could be faster for the hedge trimming. I do like the battery thing in it that tells me whether my battery's flat, about to go flat, or is good. I run all my equipment through a modified backpack because I'm a little bit taller and the cord was too short. Plus I always had the cord getting damaged from being put down on the end. So I've actually modified that, but I run all my equipment through a 7.5, which I'll generally get, at least depending on the application, an hour to 4 hours on a 7.5. So hopefully this is going in the right direction. If you have the opportunity to buy between the two Powerheads, it's only $100 more and you will not regret going to the commercial. Unfortunately, it does only give you a 2-year warranty opposed to a 5-year warranty if you're domestic on the Powerhead, but definitely go to that. Quick over glance, these are all coming out of stock. If you have the opportunity to buy one of these at a super discounted rate, they are phenomenal. Don't ever surpass buying one of these at a super low price. First things you got to do is super glue down that thing there, because then that'll give you full range and you don't have to press that down. On these ones, take out your safety pin straight away. Get rid of that, you don't need it, in my opinion. All right. So what I'm going to do, it's a bit windy now, but I'm going to put you on the tripod with no sound, me talking. But I just want you to listen to the RPM of the hedge trimmer first, and then we will go to the whippersnipper, and then I'm going to put all three into action. I'm going to do a bit of whippersnipping here, and you'll be able to see, hopefully, the torque difference between, I'm not going to worry about this fella because video will get too long, but those two. Oh. Alright, so we've got speed 1, speed 2, speed 1, speed 2, oh, I need a battery. Okay. Hit your speed button. Speed 1, speed 2, speed 1, speed 2. So you can definitely hear that change. Alright. Commercial has got the speed, battery, 3 speed. Speed 1, speed 2, speed 3. 1, 2, 3. So when the battery actually dies, that will turn red. Okay, other thing. First thing you're going to do when you buy the Whippersnipper from Ego is take the Ego head off, throw it in the bin, and go buy a speed feed head. Someone did say that the new Ego heads are better, but I've been using these since 2016, so I don't know how many Ego heads I'd already thrown in the bin. But so now I'm not even going to go down that path. I'd never even use a Whippersnipper head from Ego. All right, speed 1. 2, 3. I didn't really hear the difference there between 2 and 3. All right. If I'm whippersnipping, like I said, I use the backpack, which I will use for the purpose of the video. That's generally my cord length, about 15 centimeters, 6 inches. So that was number 3. It will use up quite a bit of power. With the commercial power head though, I have noticed it does consume more battery power than the domestic range. I don't know whether that's a power thing or not, but I definitely notice even on number 1 that it does chew through more battery, even doing hedging, opposed to the domestic range. The biggest advantage is though you've got that extra 3rd speed and the heat, it doesn't cut out in extreme heat. The power on, so here I'm on number 1, which is perfectly fine for whippersnipping. This grass is also wet, we've just had rain. So this is the domestic newer version of 1420, which is still a great machine, and I've got no issues with it
Start off on 1
at
and then
all.
I'll go to 2.
So the purpose of this, for me, with slipping this grass, is that we're actually going down into that nice thick rhizome, which does use a lot more power than just trimming into the grass blades. So that's all I wanted to show here, is that there is still plenty of power here. And it does a fantastic job. One thing that a question someone said about petrol versus battery, and some people are just stuck on petrol powered, that they will not change to battery, and they'll say, oh, you know, a 5-litre jerry can of fuel will last me X amount of time, and they don't want to deal with batteries recharging all the time, or having to carry $1,000 worth of batteries in their truck. And I completely understand that. I carry at least $5,000 worth of batteries at any one time, but I don't have to deal with carburetors and fuel spillages, oil and all that sort of stuff. I don't have to. The other thing is, like, to go get you either need to know how to service your equipment, petrol. So if you're paying for a mechanic to do oil changes and check your air filters and spark plugs and all of that sort of stuff, it's $150 minimum now. So up to you whether or not you so you do that once a year, $150 a year, or sometimes more, and then your tool is out of action for 2 to 3 weeks, then you may as well have just bought a new tool. So that's where I love battery. I have very little problems with any of the power heads. The power heads have been phenomenal in that you can just abuse them, and the longevity is insane. A couple of other tools that, the mowers weren't quite as good, although the new one is fantastic, which I do have to do a video on the Select Cut 55cm, because it is phenomenal. So here I'm using the commercial on speed 1 with 15 centimeters of cord. Obviously the leaf is not a big issue, but alright, so to try and show you the power of this thing, which it does have plenty. I'm going to cut through some thick stuff just here. The other day I was we were clearing scrub for a fire trail, and so we're going through thick grass, all sorts of things. I did have the brush cutter head on, but when you're trying to go through 1-inch lantana, it just wouldn't. It just kept stopping and banging. So I just used the whippersnipper head, which is what I've got on now, and going through all the thick grass and everything, it was sensational. So this here is just a whole bunch of branches that I've hedge trimmed, and I'm just cutting that up. Hopefully this gives you a bit of an insight into the commercial power head. Definitely, I absolutely love it. I love the ability to switch and change between multiple different tools without having to spend a fortune. If there's any questions, queries, don't hesitate to drop me a line in the comment. Please like, share, and hit that subscribe button, and you have a beautiful day. See ya.